Hello, my name is Addie Meinrich. I have my Bachelor of Science in both Exercise Physiology and Human Nutrition and Foods, and I am currently completing supervised practice rotations to become a registered dietitian. A popular topic in nutrition is high fructose corn syrup. A few questions that I have received are, is it harmful? As a nutrition expert, would I recommend avoiding the product? Should people choose food sweetened with cane sugar instead? So I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions to the best of my ability. I was personally fortunate enough to be taught by a nutrition professional at the university level whose research involved high fructose corn syrup. So I would like to begin with a brief education piece on carbohydrates, just to give a little bit of a background on high fructose corn syrup and how that came to be and what it really is. So to begin with some background information, carbohydrates can be broken into two different categories in the science world. You have your simple carbohydrates and your complex carbohydrates. Because of the talking point of high fructose corn syrup, we're going to focus on the simple carbohydrates today. Simple carbs are known as your sugars. One type of simple carb is monosaccharide, which is only one sugar unit. And there are three types, which are a common one being glucose, which is the form of carbohydrate that our body uses for energy and functions, galactose, and fructose, which is the sugar form in fruit and is also the sweetest sugar of all of them, or monosaccharide rather. The second type of simple carb is a disaccharide, and that is two sugar molecules combined. There's also three types, being maltose, which is a combination of glucose and glucose. Then you have lactose, which is galactose and glucose. And then you have sucrose, which is glucose and fructose. Sucrose is also known as table sugar, also cane sugar, same thing, that we'll be addressing in comparison to high fructose corn syrup today. So some background information on high fructose corn syrup. Like sucrose, high fructose corn syrup is a combination of glucose and fructose molecules. The main difference being between high fructose corn syrup and sucrose is the ratio of glucose and fructose molecules, or concentration rather. Sucrose is equally divided, 50% glucose, 50% fructose. High fructose corn syrup is engineered from corn, is cheaper to produce than table sugar, and comes in two forms with varying concentrations. There's a high fructose corn syrup 42, which is the powdered form of high fructose corn syrup. It is commonly found in like your drink mixes like Crystal Light, and the 42 stands for 42% fructose and 58% glucose. The main high fructose corn syrup controversy revolves around the syrup form of high fructose corn syrup, which is high fructose corn syrup 55. It is commonly added to foods all the way from soda to ketchup. So it's in a lot of products that people normally would consume, mostly your more obviously processed foods, since it is not occurring naturally in nature. It is high fructose corn syrup 55 because it is 55% fructose and 45% glucose. The increase in fructose, if you remember back, fructose being the sweetest sugar, it makes this a much sweetener, if you will, than just a cane sugar. And like I said, it's also cheaper to produce, so it is put into a lot of foods nowadays. There are some concerns revolving its synthetic form, as well as percentage of fructose that high fructose corn syrup contains. So to move on to just answering those questions of, is it harmful? Would I recommend it? And would it be better to use a cane sugar as a sweetener? I have a couple different ways to go at these questions. The increase of fructose in the high fructose corn syrup causes concerns around the fact that it is proposed to be more fattening than other forms of sugar, such as cane sugar. This is because biologically, fructose bypasses an enzyme in the body that occurs during metabolism, which, when you eat high fructose corn syrup in excess, may cause an increase in fat, also known as lipogenesis. High fructose corn syrup is also mainly metabolized in the liver. Your increase in fat, as well as processing in the liver, causes some concerns for fatty liver disease when eaten in excess. Research is still being conducted on these topics in the metabolism of high fructose corn syrup, but this is a valid concern. As a rule of thumb, anything, to me, eaten in excess is never a good idea. Sugar-sweetened beverages are a huge contributing factor to the obesity epidemic and, for lack of a better term, sugar addiction in our country. Since high fructose corn syrup is much sweeter than table sugar, you're more likely to use it more often due to its addictive taste properties with the sweetness. To simply switch from eating high fructose corn syrup to cane sugar, but still eating a lot of those or drinking a lot of sugar sweetened beverages, as well as eating those processed foods, is not really the best way to enhance your diet. Moderation is always key. On the other hand, I always recommend eating as natural and as low processed foods as you can. The more you are able to identify the ingredients in your food, the more likely that these food choices are beneficial to your health. In this sense, I would recommend cane sugar as a sweetener to high fructose corn syrup. And just to summarize all that we have talked about today, while in moderation, high fructose corn syrup is not necessarily harmful, it is not recommended to eat in excess or in place of natural sweeteners such as cane sugar. When in doubt, go with the natural and everything in moderation.